The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ben Ellis, and I will be hosting tonight's Internet Mastery webinar. I am the Internet Mastery Coaching Manager. So one thing I like to do whenever I begin in webinars, I do want to do a quick sound check. So if you guys can locate your questions box or raise your hands and let me know that the sound is working. Okay, looks like the sound is working and everything is ready to go. So first off, I wanted to thank you so much for joining tonight's webinar. I'm really happy to have you. I'm very sorry that we actually missed you at the workshop, but I assure you we're going to be going over a lot of things, and a lot of those things were actually discussed in that workshop. So I'm going to hit upon all of those and maybe even go into some deeper doctrine as well. So also, you should already have the software that was sent to you. If you do not have that yet, that's okay, because what you can do is you can email the email address support@mycoachingteam.com. That's support@mycoachingteam.com. Or you can call the number 877-427-9927. That's 877-427-9927. And you can just put in your subject line or leave a voicemail saying, hey, I don't have my software yet, and we will set you up with a username and password immediately. And we're going to be going over some of the software that you had been given as well. We're going to go over some of the capabilities. One thing I also wanted to mention, at the end of this webinar, I'm going to be giving you out a free bonus. This free bonus is one of the most important tools that I personally use in order to track my business, optimize my business, grow my business, find product, and ultimately be successful. So please stick around. And the biggest reason is because I have to show you how to use this free bonus. And that's everything that we will be going through in today's webinar. So what we're going to cover, like I said, we are going to be covering the software that you already have access to. We're also going to do exactly what I did successfully on eBay, and I'll get into a little bit about that in just a minute, including gaining reputation, researching profitable products, eBay listing best practices, and avoiding common mistakes, and also finding high margin local items. So the other thing that we'll get into is Amazon. We're going to go over FBA, which stands for Fulfillment by Amazon. We're going to go over researching profitable products with high return, product sourcing, Amazon to eBay arbitrage, and an introduction to some private labeling. So first off, what I want to do is I want to tell you a little bit about my story. And really, my background is aviation. Ever since I was a little kid, all I wanted to do was fly airplanes. And so every time I would hear one in the sky, I would just look up at it and just have an emotional moment. You know, I just knew that I had such a passion for aviation. And so what I did is I actually went to school. I never really thought that it would be a possibility, but I went to school and I achieved a linguistics degree, and I actually speak an Eastern language as well. But I knew I wanted to fly airplanes, and so what I did is I decided to go to the Air Force because I knew that they would help pay for it. So I went to the Air Force and I asked them if I could be a pilot, and they found out that I had a linguistics degree and I spoke an Eastern language, and they said, there is absolutely no way we are going to let you fly our airplanes. But if you want to be in an airplane, because you know an Eastern language, we're going to stick you in an airplane with headphones so you can intercept phone calls and translate them for us. How does that sound? And of course I didn't want to do that. That wasn't my passion. So then I asked them, well, what do I need to do in order to become a pilot for the Air Force? And they said, well, if you want, you can go ahead and become a pilot outside of the Air Force and then come back and we'll see if we can't reimburse those expenses. So that's exactly what I did. I went to school and I decided to achieve another degree. I graduated near the top of my class. I became a private pilot with an instrument rating, commercial rating, multi-engine rating. I was a certified flight instructor, and I also even had kind of my preliminary job was to fly back and forth airplanes. People would give me their broken airplane, and I had to fly it across the country to get it fixed. So that was kind of a fun little job. So about this time, I'm also newly married. I'm brand new married. My wife was excited to marry a pilot because we got to travel a lot. 2 months into my actual commercial aviation career, and also 2 months into my marriage, I suffered an unprovoked and unexplained seizure. And the FAA, they said to me, well, we got to take away your pilot medical. That's a document that's required for me to fly airplanes. And they said, you can't fly anymore. And we don't know why the seizure happened. No test ever confirmed a reason. But because they don't know the reason, they don't know if that situation will be replicated in the cockpit. So they said, sorry, but your flying days are over. So that was really depressing for me. In fact, as a newly graduated college graduate, 2 months out of college and brand new married, I had 6 months to pay back my student loans before they started saying, okay, you got to pay us bills. Now, I didn't have a job anymore. And because I borrowed from so many different places, my monthly bills for student loans were $3,500 a month. $3,500 a month. And my total debt was $110,000 because I had to rent aircraft, which at the very beginning stage is $100 an hour with a $35 an hour instructor. The bigger airplanes are about $273 an hour with a $55 an hour instructor. And you need about, at that time, it was about 250 hours just to get a commercial rating. So $110,000 in debt. And we were nervous, my wife and I. So we sat down and we said, okay, well, what on earth are we going to do? We had an eBay account but did nothing with it. We decided to all of a sudden hit it quite hard. And for the first couple, 3-4 weeks, I was screwing it up. I wasn't doing it right. And then something clicked. Something absolutely clicked. And I'll tell you this, on the 1-year anniversary of my seizure was the last debt payment I have ever paid in my entire life. And I've been out of debt since. So I figured it out, and now I dedicate my life showing other people how to do that. Now, unrelated to the story, but maybe related to the story, my wife and I, we actually had a hard time getting pregnant. And we found out also on that 1-year anniversary, and the day that we got out of debt, that we were pregnant with my first daughter. And that's a day that we celebrated. On the 2-year anniversary was the day I lost my 100th pound. And this is my family today. There's my beautiful wife, and I have now 3 children, all incredibly smart and beautiful. And so I dedicate my life, of course, to them. I'm very blessed because of them and also my business. And it's now my turn to give back. So I am traveling to workshops with Adam Ginsberg, and we are teaching a whole lot of people and coaching, etc. So I have an absolute love for this, and I'm going to give you just a little bit of what I go through. Okay, so first off, let's talk about eBay versus Amazon. I am asked the question frequently, well, which one is better? Which one should I start with? And really, both of them are really, really good. With eBay, the pros are you actually make more money per sale. Your margins are higher, okay? Then you can also liquidate your items quickly. You can actually put an item up for an auction and one day actually have that item sold. You also can do free local pickup so that people can buy them from your local area and you don't have to ship it, which is okay. And there are very few restrictions as far as listing types are concerned. So you can pretty much sell anything on eBay except for like ridiculous stuff. I mean, you can't sell a jar that's empty and say, hey, there's a ghost in here. You know, you can't sell that sort of thing, even though people in the past actually did. They try to get away with selling ghosts. Yeah, it was a fun time. Now, Amazon, the pros, there are no packing and shipping, virtually no packing and shipping. The cool thing about Amazon is if you have a product, you can shove a bunch of products in one big box. send it off to Amazon, and then they do everything from there. They pack it, they ship it, they do customer service, they do absolutely everything. So all you have to do is send one shipment with 50 items, and they do 50 items while you sit back and just watch them sell. You also have a higher turnover. Even though on eBay you can make more money per sale, on Amazon you sell them faster. And so you can also achieve some pretty good success that way. No customer service, I already talked about that, and they have an increasing market footprint. Let me tell you about the Amazon opportunity right now. Amazon as a marketplace is increasing at about a 10 to 15% per year. But the number of sellers on Amazon is not increasing by that same amount. That means as time goes on, and the sooner you get into selling on Amazon, the more market share you have over time. And so it's an incredibly big opportunity to get into, especially now. So let's go ahead and start with eBay. First thing we're going to talk about is your reputation, how to get your reputation higher. There's also some common mistakes that we're going to cover as far as reputation is concerned. We're also going to go over product research. We're going to talk about how to find and price a product as well as the format. And we're going to go over what are the critical 3 rules of eBay. Make sure you have a pen and a paper when we have that discussion. We're also going to go over listing items, going through the template optimizer that you already have. Then we're going to find local profitable products at that point and use some of these really cool sites. So first things first, I'm going to open up eBay here. I'm going to bring it onto the window. Okay, so I'm going to kind of start assuming that you know nothing, and we'll kind of go over at least how to start creating an account. So right here you can see that there's a hi, sign in or register. I'm going to click on register. We're just going to go through something fairly simple. I'm going to say fake at I'm not giving you my email.com, and of course I'm going to re-enter that here. Oops, let's see. At I'm not giving you my email.com, and I'm going to pick up a password here, and I'm going to say my first name is Bill and my last name is Nelson. Why not? And I'll put in this is a fake number, so I don't know if it goes to anyone, but yeah, maybe. Oh, you got to put in another password. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and register, and it's really that simple. Okay, so now here's my eBay account, and if you notice, if I click on my eBay on the right-hand side, it gives me kind of a dashboard. On the left here, it's giving me a user ID, but then there's a number here in parentheses, and that's a 0. Now, regardless of whether or not I've been a member of eBay for 10 years or 10 seconds, if I have that number as a 0, people perceive me as brand new. So I kind of want to give people a better sense of security when they buy from me, and so we need to get that feedback score up to 10 immediately. And that's what the reputation's called. It's called a feedback score. And if we were to list something for sale right now, we have a probability of not selling the product for the price we've researched it would sell for. So I'm going to show you just one of the many tricks up my sleeve here on getting that feedback score up to 10 very quickly, very cheaply, and incredibly easy. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to search for the term bead, like a necklace bead. And you can see that I have 5.706 million results. A whole lot of results here. And they range in prices. Now, watch this. I'm going to take this sort feature, and I'm going to change it from best match to price plus shipping lowest first. Now, what do you see? You see a bunch of beads selling for 1 cent and free shipping. So in theory, you can buy a bunch of 1-cent items and free shipping and get your feedback score up to 10. In fact, if you bought a penny, because they sell pennies on eBay, if you bought a penny for a penny, that's a net zero activity. You spent nothing getting that feedback score up to 10. There is a catch here, though. I mean, these are auctions. So admittedly, you have a probability of actually being outbid. And so sometimes it takes a little bit to get your feedback score using this method. But if I filter out all of the auctions and now go straight to a buy it now, you can see that the cheapest products that pop up are 76 cents. So in theory, I can buy a bunch of 76 items for free shipping and actually get my feedback score up to 10 in an hour. So I'm ready to start selling immediately. So that's a really, really, really good strategy where it takes virtually no money, virtually no time, but when you do it, the importance is you know, it's insane. You got to be able to know how to sell your products, and this gives you a better prediction or better predictor of selling a product for the price you've researched it would sell for. So that's why it's incredibly important. Okay, so the next thing, we're going to be talking about product research. Okay, so so there's a common mistake I want to mention right here. A common mistake that new eBayers make is that they have an item in their house. Let's just say it's a George Foreman 360, an indoor grill. They'll look at that, they'll put it in their hand and, you know, kind of stick their finger in the wind and say, I'm going to sell it for this price, and I'm just going to hope for the best. So when people who are brand new put an item up on eBay and hope for the best, a couple of things happen. One of the first things that happens is it can sell immediately. When an item sells immediately, the first thing that goes through people's head is, uh-oh, I underpriced it. I could have made more money on it. And they say, okay, well, that one's gone. It's okay, but I could have made more money on that. And it kind of itches at them. The second thing that can happen is that the item is listed as a buy it now, but it doesn't sell. And so every 5 to 7 days, they are relisting and relisting and relisting, and it's not selling. So they start blaming the price. So they start lowering and lowering and lowering the price. Eventually, the item will sell. And if it sells, they then send it to the post office or whatever and found out that they actually took a loss because the price was so low, that's what yielded the sale. Now, I'm going to tell you something. You can actually sell 100% of all of the items you list on eBay for a profit, because there is a way to accurately predict how much an item will sell for and what format, either auction or buy it now, will yield that price. So if it sells fast, you don't care. You know that it was a fair price. If it sells slow, then there are some things we can do to increase eyes, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But first things first, let me show you how to do that. I'm going to look for like a Vitamix 7500. This is a blender, and it's a really nice blender. And if I type in the code here, or the keyword, we can see that there are about 33 listings, and the prices range all over the place. But all of these prices are black. When a price is black, it means that the item is for sale. Now, one of the greatest business advices I can give you, write this down, is that the seller never chooses the price of a product. You can't go and say, this is how much I'm going to sell it for. A seller cannot choose the price of a product. The only person who can choose the price of the product is the market. The market is the one that tells you how much an item can sell for. I can go to you with a 5-cent waffle that I got from Costco and say, okay, here's a waffle. That'd be $1,000. You would actually tell me to take a hike, and I would actually have to take that hike because that's ridiculous. The market's not going to pay that. And so we can actually find out how much people are buying these items for. So if you look here on the left-hand side, we see some filters: color, brand, condition, price, format, item location, delivery options, and show only. Now if we take a look at show only, I'm going to click on sold listings. All of a sudden the prices now are green. A green price is an indicator of how much the item actually sold for in the past. But some of these don't make sense. You know, some of them are just the stirring thing or whatever, or just the blender itself. Okay, so I'm going to do this. Instead of going sort price plus shipping lowest first or even date ending soonest, I'm going to change it to price plus shipping highest first. There's a reason why I did that. Because now I'm sorting the classroom. I'm sorting the classroom from the smartest kid in class to the dumbest kid in class. Now, if I want to replicate a winning strategy, I have to replicate that winning result. So I'm going to look at what the A students did. And if I can do what the A students did, then I can have their same grade. The A students on eBay make the most money. So a common mistake people make is that they want to sell an item for an average price. But you never want to sell an item for an average price. An average price makes you a C student when there are A students there. So let's take a look at the A students and find an average of the A students. This is known as a weighted average. So I can see here that we have one sell for $836.89, $834.88, $731.06. So this is interesting. We know that we can yield that price because it has happened in the past. We see here that if I had this item, I would sell it for around $835 because I have evidence in the past that the market is choosing that price. But I can only yield that price if I list it as a buy it now. Because take a look right here. This is selling as a buy it now. This one is selling as a buy it now. So there's no way I'm going to sell it as an auction. It doesn't mean that auction won't sell for a high price, but it means that I do not have demonstrable evidence that in the past an auction will yield a higher price. In fact, I'm just curious. I'm going to scroll down to see if I can't find any auctions. Oh, I still have my filter on. Let me go back to all listings. Okay, so if I see some auctions, let's see if I can. This is actually right there. There's one that sold for $431.56 and it had 53 bids. So this is showing me that if I want to lose money on an item, or at least not sell it for as much as I want, then I have to sell it as an auction. But if I want to yield a better price, I'm going to sell it as a buy it now. Okay, so that's how you find the price in the format. But that doesn't really mean much unless we talk about the 3 rules of eBay. Remember, I told you to pay attention very closely to these 3 rules of eBay. Write them down. I am going to tell you what those rules are. Then I am going to tell you why they exist. Rule number 1. 100% of every single product you list on eBay ever, without exception, has free shipping. I'll let that sink in before I introduce the second one. The second one is every single auction you list on eBay, without exception, starts off at 99 cents. And yes, that means 99 cents in free shipping. Third rule of eBay is every single buy it now you ever list, without exception, has a good till canceled duration. That's a GTC. Good till canceled means that it will stay on eBay and never be taken off. So it needs to be a good till canceled duration and have a best offer. Okay, so I told you what the rules are. Now I got to tell you why they exist. Rule number 1, free shipping. There's a couple reasons why we do this. Number 1 is because we want to sell it for a fair price, and we never add shipping to the price of the product, but the price of the product just covers the shipping. If we see here, let me just give you an easy math equation. What is the difference between $90 for a product plus $10 shipping versus $100 and free shipping? 90 plus 10 equals 100 plus 0. You're not losing money. You're selling it for the exact same price. When we look at these prices here, we're looking at the total price someone bought it for. 90 plus 10 is the same thing as 100 and free. So we're not losing money. That's the first reason. The second reason is more important. The second reason is because eBay is really smart. And they know that items that have free shipping tend to sell for a higher price and more often. Now guess how eBay makes money? When items sell. And if items sell for a higher price and more often, eBay makes more money. So by virtue of putting free shipping on your listing, you rank higher. More people get to your listing. That's one of the reasons why. Okay, so that's rule number one and why we do that. We're selling it for the same price and eBay ranks us higher. The second rule of eBay, sometimes people have a little bit more trepidation with this, and I understand. Now there's only one scenario where I list an item as an auction, and that is if the exact same item sold at the highest price and received more than 5 bids. So if this item or even a combination of these two items said auction, but they had lots of bids, like 50 or over 5 basically, then you can see that there was a fight over it. There was a bidding war. And if there's a bidding war, eBay loves that. Because the more bids an item receives, the higher it ranks. And that's because eBay knows that items that receive lots of bids and receive a lot of buzz have a lot more people entered into that auction. So they boost it higher to create that bidding war. Now, the other reason why is there's something called a views to actions ratio. This means that the more actions a person puts on an eBay listing, like a bid or a buy or an offer or a sale, the more people do something when they see an eBay listing, the higher it ranks, because eBay sees that that item is probably going to sell at a high price and often. If you had a high starting bid price of $50 on a $60 item because you wanted to, quote, cover your shipping, then you might not see any bids at all because you forfeited all of those bids up to $50 and every ranking benefit of it. And so you're no longer ranking high. There's other people that are ranking higher than you because there's more excitement on them. But again, you only list the item if it sold in the past, received a lot of bids. So let me see if I can't find an example here because sometimes people still at this point need to be convinced. So I'm going to search for a watch. I'm going to filter them out to the auctions to make it easy. Okay, and then I'm going to go, let's see, what other filters can I put on there? Okay, this will solidify the point. Okay, so let's take a look at this very top watch. We have a watch here, and if you can see this, it sold for $57,255 even. And it also received 133 bids. Let's take a look here. So we can see that it sold for $57,255. They charged nothing in shipping. This is a free shipping item. Now I'm curious to know what the starting bid price was on this. Look at that. 1 cent. 1 cent in free shipping, and this guy sells for $57,255 even. So now the question comes, if you had this exact same watch, would you hesitate to put it up on eBay and at least expect it to sell for $57,000? Of course you wouldn't hesitate. It happened in the past. And because it happened in the past, that's how that product behaves. And so you are a lot more comfortable selling your item as an auction because you see in the past a lot of people are going to get excited about it. eBay is going to boost it in the search results, and you're going to make a sale for a higher price. Amazing. Amazing. So that brings me to rule number 3. Rule number 3 is that all buy it nows have a good till cancel duration with the best offer. Now, I'm going to go back to the views to actions ratio on here. okay? Because the longer an item is on eBay, the higher it ranks. And that's because it's gathering action. It's gathering watchers. It's gathering offers. It's gathering sales if it's a multi-quantity item. And because those are being collected, eBay is boosting it higher in the search results because those are actions, and actions equal sales in eBay's mind, so it's going to rank it higher. So if you were to list your buy it now at a 5-day, a 7-day, 10-day, or even 30-day, and it goes unsold, you then forfeit all of those actions you've received and any ranking benefit of them. So when you relist it, you start right off at the bottom again. But if you put it up on eBay, it will rank higher over time the longer it's up. So that's why we also have an offer. A best offer is someone who can say, hey, I'm not going to give you $100 for it, but I'll offer you 90. You can accept that, reject it, or submit a counteroffer. And because you don't have to accept it, by virtue of receiving it, you rank higher. So that's the other reason why we do it. Okay, so that's the 3 rules of eBay. And that's the big goal of the 3 rules of eBay, is to rank us higher among our competitors. Even above the top-rated power sellers, you can actually rank number 1. Now this also brings the point. You can sell 100% of your items on eBay for a profit because you're not going to accept anything less. You know how much it sells for. You know what format is going to yield that price. You just wait until it happens. Okay? And of course, if you show that the item's not going to make you a profit, then of course you don't list it. Okay? So that's why you don't have to make that mistake of selling the item for a wrong price or a wrong format. Okay, so now let's start getting into listing a product. We're going to go into one of the softwares that you have. This is called the Template Optimizer Basic. Okay, so if you have the Template Optimizer Basic, it doesn't have some of the capabilities that we're going to go over. That's okay. You still can create a listing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this Template Optimizer, and I'm going to log in. Okay, so if I log in here, what I can do is I can go to Listings, and then I'm going to create a listing as soon as this pops up here. Design a listing, and then I'm going to name it something like test. Okay, this is just something that we're doing right now. Okay, so here I have a test, and then I'm going to go into this edit. All right, so this is where the bread and butter is. So here you have a default template. So if we were selling like a blender, having a golf theme is a little silly. It's a little goofy. So of course we don't want to do that. So we can actually change the themes. So right here at the top, I'm going to theme, and there's a ton of themes here that you can choose from. Look at that. There's a blender one. I've selected a blender one. That's what it's going to look like. So when I click on apply theme, now all of a sudden golf is gone. And if I'm selling a blender, this looks a whole lot better. A whole lot better. Now with the Template Optimizer Basic, you have 3 widgets. You have the text widget, the image widget, and you also have the slideshow. So what we can do here is this is actually a content or a text widget already. So if I mouse over those, I can actually click on an edit, and then I can create my content. When you sell an item on eBay, you want to sell it. You don't want to describe it. Because can you imagine going to a grocery store, walking down the cereal aisle and have a bunch of white boxes with black lettering that says, hey, these are little brown circles with holes in the middle. You know, no one's going to buy that. You got to sell it. Okay, so here I can just say, here is some content, and it's not about cereal. Okay, so just to show you what you can do, update it, and there is my content. You also see that you have a number of capabilities here as far as putting bold, italicize, or underline. You can center justify it. You can change font size, font color, and even do a little bit of HTML if you want. Okay, so this is just a standard a word processing editor. The next thing that you can do is you can actually insert some images. So once you've taken pictures, you can put them in here and they look great. And I'll show you a little technique just a little bit later. But here is also a video widget. eBay really likes it when people are engaged with a listing. So the longer they're on a listing, the higher it ranks because the people are actually there doing stuff. Videos are a great way of doing that because people have to watch the duration. Here's a default funny video, but if I'm selling a Vitamix 7500, then I can actually search for Vitamix 7500, and I can select this one if it's a positive review, and now I have a Vitamix 7500 demonstration video. This is available in the Template Optimizer Supreme, and so it works incredibly efficiently. There's other ones too. This one is a slideshow. Without any images, you really can't get the gist of it, but it kind of creates your like a flip book of your images so people don't have to scroll down a whole lot. I'll also talk about this one because this is probably the most important widget you have. This is a cross-promotional widget. So if I slide this in here, what this does is this shows your eBay visitors to this listing everything else you sell. So if you're selling like some cowboy boots and cowboy hats and someone's looking at your cowboy boots, they can see that you also sell cowboy hats. And they can go to that listing and buy another item from you, thereby saving money in shipping and making more money in your pocket. So yeah, that's something that that is very, very good with Template Optimizer Supreme. So with the Template Optimizer Supreme too, I want to tell you, and one thing that you missed at the event or at the workshop was we sold a phone. And using the Template Optimizer Supreme, because using the Template Optimizer Supreme or having the Template Optimizer Supreme does two things. One is it makes your listings look absolutely beautiful. They look amazingly gorgeous, and that actually funnels traffic into actions such as sales, which is the most desirable one. But the second benefit is that Adam pays thousands of dollars a year to market students' listings created by the Template Optimizer Supreme. You get more traffic. So this is a retargeting campaign. So if you ever go to a store and you look at an item and you go to another website and you can see that they advertise the exact same item you just looked at, that's called a remarketing campaign. So anyone who sees your listing or a listing similar to yours, they've been to one like that. And the second you list yours on eBay, you get instant traffic, lots of traffic, before it's even indexed on eBay. Before people can actually search for it, you are getting traffic. So that's a huge benefit. But I'm going to show you my favorite technique with the Template Optimizer Supreme. I'm just going to go to Amazon. And let's just say, I don't know, pet clothes. Why not? Let's just say that this little winter jacket for a dog, let's just say I had this from around my house or I wanted to sell it to Amazon to eBay or something like that. What I can do is I can take this code right here. We'll get into these in a little bit later. This is called an ASIN. I can take that code. I can go to the Template Optimizer Supreme and go on Amazon. I can then search for that product in Template Optimizer Supreme. There it is. I can add that product. And it's going to disappear here in a little bit. While it's importing, I'm going to go back to listings, and right here at the top, there it is. If I click on this drop-down menu and I click on preview, Template Optimizer Supreme has made a listing for me. it put in all of the images, it put in the title, it put in policies, it put in dimensions, it described it, everything. One click of a button, and I have found a listing, and it's created it for me. If any of you have ever listed on eBay, you're going to recognize how awesome this is, because it takes forever sometimes to create eBay listings, especially when they look like this. Instantly, one was created for you. And of course, you can edit this if you want. But that's why it's so awesome to actually use this. Okay, so that's one thing I wanted to show you. You have a number of widgets. These are the type of listings you can create using it. There's also using the Amazon derivation tool, which is creating a listing this way, and then also the additional traffic you get, which is worth itself in gold right there. So it's great. So now let's start talking about finding products too. So when I started my eBay business, I actually had to do a couple of things. The first thing is I was desperate. I mean, I sold stuff from around my house, but there gets a point where you can't do that anymore. And so now I had to get creative. And so what I did is I went outside my house, and I actually went to a site called Craigslist.org. You're probably familiar with it. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the exact method I did so you guys can start making money today. So this is a really a neat technique. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let's just pick a random place like Billings, Montana. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to look at like anything with a model number. Okay, so model numbers are those, you can find them in musical instruments or tools. In fact, let's just start there. Musical instruments. And the very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to scroll down to see if I can't find something that has a obvious model number, like a make and model number. Okay, here, right here. Behringer Ultragraph Pro EQ. Let's take a note of this. This thing's selling for $50. Now let's go ahead and apply what we've already learned. I want to see how much this item sells. So here I'm at the for sale. I want to see the sold. And I want to go price with shipping highest first. Well, look at that. Let's just make sure that's the same item. I want to look at a close-up here. Okay. So I can get this item for $50 and sell it for $250? Sure. Or I think this one might be it. It looks like it's like a single layer. So this is the one I'm looking at more. So yeah, I can get this thing for $50, but look at that. It's selling for $99 plus $9.99 shipping. It's selling for $110. If you could buy something for $50 and sell it for $110, is that a yes or a no decision? It's a resounding yes. So let's just make sure that that wasn't a fluke where we found something profitable on our first item. So let's go to tools, because I also like tools. All right, let's take a look at this. This DieHard battery charger DH830. So I see it's for sale for $65. Looks like it's still in a box, so that's kind of nice. Let's go back to eBay, and I'm going to search for this make and model. Oh, well, isn't that nice? This thing's selling for $124.33 to $128.98, both at Buy It Nows, and I can buy it for $65. That was kind of fun. And this is exactly what I did. I ran out of stuff, so I went locally. Did you see how fast we just made a couple $100? Do you make a couple $100 in 10 minutes right now? Not really sure. Okay, so that's what's so awesome about that technique. So if you are to utilize local venues, my favorite is Craigslist.org. If you're in Canada, your website is Kijiji. That's Kijiji. Okay, Kijiji. And then if you are in the UK or Australia, then your website is Gumtree.com. They're basically online classifieds, and they work very, very well. So that's kind of a basic eBay strategy that I use. Of course, there's bigger things that we can get into, which might be beyond this particular webinar, but this at least gets you to creating a listing and making some profit, which is great. So the next thing I want to talk about is Amazon. We're going to go over how to find items to sell on Amazon using some software here. Okay, so a lot of the software was actually shown within the workshop, so I'm going to do that for you here as well. So the first thing is Amazon FBA. I just kind of want to remind you what that is. Amazon FBA is Fulfillment by Amazon, where you send products to Amazon and they do all the work. Now, when we start selling an item on Amazon or eBay or a website for that matter, we need to make sure that that item has appropriate demand, manageable competition. And because if we have too much or too little demand, no one's going to buy it. If we have too much competition, no one's going to buy it. So we kind of have to go through a nice little a happy medium there. Okay, so I'm going to bring up another software here. And the one I'm going to introduce to you here is Spy Rivals. And what we're going to do is there's lots of different reports that are kind of beyond this webinar, which is okay, but we're going to look at the Amazon keyword report. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger for you folks so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring up a random Amazon item here, and I can click on this magnifying glass, and it's going to tell me some crucial pieces of data, absolutely vital. So it's going to spin around here because it's actually looking for a lot of different things. And so kind of the more popular the product or a little bit more data it needs to look at, sometimes it can take just a little bit longer. So we'll wait until this, of course, pops up, but I can make this point. Sometimes people are very concerned with the ROI or the net profit of an item. And I'm here to tell you that that really doesn't matter. Because, of course, it matters if it's positive. Okay, so I'll give you that. Okay, but it really doesn't matter what it is. If I have 100% ROI in a product and I make $100 a sale, but I sell one every 6 months, that does not get me out of bed in the morning. Unless it's once out of every 6 months where I have to get out of bed, right? That doesn't make me excited. However, if I sold 100 items a day, only $1 in profit, I'm a whole lot more excited because it's not about the ROI, which is return on investment. It's not about the net profit or the NP. It's how much can I make over time. Now I can make 10% per day, per day, per day, per day, and that just compounds. Okay, so looks like this data popped up, and I'm going to tell you what you see here. The first thing you see is actually known as the sales rank, and that's right there. The sales rank of this is 525, so that is saying that this particular item is the 525th most popular product in its category. That really doesn't mean anything unless you know what the estimated sales a day are. This puppy is selling 190 a day. 190 a day. That's insane, and it's really, really exciting. That is how we gauge the demand of an item. It's got a low sales rank. It's got high sales per day. People are buying it. And so that's really, really good indicator of what the demand is. Because really, if you can't find, if you really can't find a product that has velocity, you know, you're just kind of going into that common mistake of sticking your finger in the wind and hoping for the best. So you can't get jaded by knowing that the item's going to make you a ton of money if it's not going to sell. So that's why Spy Rivals is so important, and this is just one capability it has. It has many, many, many other capabilities. But my favorite one, of course, is accurately predicting what the sales per day are and the sales rank. Okay, so the next tool I'm going to show you is very exciting. To kind of brace you for this tool, let me just kind of put it this way. How valuable is it for something to tell, or something or someone to tell you exactly what to buy and from where and how much it's going to make you as far as the net profit is concerned? It's an incredibly powerful tool, and luckily I'm going to show you one that was just barely introduced. Brand new tool, brand new software. So I'm going to show you this. I'm going to go to Kohl's. Ooh, wow. Got to learn how to type. I'm going to go to Kohls.com. Now I'm just going to pick some random categories here. I'm looking at bed and bath. I'm going to look at bath accessories. Don't make it too complicated. And now I can see, as soon as it pops up here, you can see all of the items that are for sale in this particular category. Okay, so it looks like they got some, pretty fun things. So right here on the upper right hand side, you're going to notice that I have a little black circle. This is called Razon. Okay, it means retail arbitrage on Amazon, R-A-Z-O-N. I'm going to press this. I'm going to show you what happens. We just sit back and relax, and it analyzes everything on that screen. If it is gray, Razon doesn't know. If it's red, Razon knows that selling that is going to lose you money. If it is green, then it has a positive ROI. So let me demonstrate. This one right here, let's see if we can find a pretty good example. Right here, we can see that this item on Kohl's is selling for $8 and it's selling on Amazon for $36.89. Okay, this item on Kohl's is selling for $13.19 and it's selling on Amazon for $29.09. This one right here is selling on a site called Bon-Ton. Okay, the cool thing about this is even if Kohl's is not the cheapest the cheapest venue to buy this product from, it's going to tell you where it is cheapest. It's going to bring up every single store that this item's for sale on. So Bon-Ton, never heard of it, but Bon-Ton is selling this item for $5.20, and it is selling on Amazon for $27.83. So what's the implication of this? You essentially have found where to buy an item to then sell on Amazon. Just like that. Now, of course, there's some considerations. You actually have to make sure that the sales rank is okay. So I can sort this by lowest to highest. I stay away from sales rank 0 because it doesn't sell. But look at this. This one has a sales rank of 8,587. That's awesome. This one has a sales rank of 11,257. That's awesome. Okay, so basically we are finding items that we can sell, and we know what our return on investment is, 35%, with a net profit of $3.58. Okay, so that's not terribly fun if they're not selling. So yes, of course we apply this to Spy Rivals, and why not? Let's see if it will bring up the data. Okay, that's selling 8 sales a day. All right, so let's see how fun that is, because that sometimes isn't terribly fun for people. But if that thing is selling 8 a day, and you're making, let's see, $3.58 a sale, and it's selling 8 a day, you're making $28.64 a day. Compound that by 365. So that one product that we found in a couple of seconds made us $10,453 a year. Can you imagine what that hourly wage is? Okay, just want that those wheels to turn, because this is actually telling us where we can buy it, for a profit. So it's wonderful. Absolutely love this tool. Okay. Now, what we can also do is I went to Kohl's, but I'm actually going to show you a pretty fun technique. I love this one. In fact, let's just do it from here. We're going to go to Raison, and we're going to look at this product on Amazon. Now, you see how, if we look on the right-hand side, this is how much it's selling for, $20.98. But let's just say this item doesn't work. Let's just say it doesn't work, but it's close. Then we can then reasonably assume that these people are selling via retail arbitrage. And if they're selling via retail arbitrage, then let's just figure out where they get their stuff. And let's just buy it and compete with them. So 14 used and new. I'm going to look at this guy right here, this My Sweet Home. So I'm going to click on their name, and I can then click on products right here, and I can see everything they sell. So I'm going to hit Raison. And I'm going to figure out if the products they sell are profitable or not. This first page, they are not. And I'm okay with that. I have up to 8 pages I can go on to spy on them and figure out where they get a product. Because if they are really, really good at arbitrage, retail arbitrage, then more than likely that's exclusively what they're doing. And so I am going to attempt to do the exact same thing. Let's take a look at this guy right here. This guy has 200 pages of products. My goodness. Okay, look at that. This guy finds an item for $3.52 and he sells it for $11. Okay, so that's kind of nice. And so that's the thing. If it takes you a while to even just find one product, that one product has 20 sellers. Those 20 sellers have thousands of products. Those thousands of products have additional sellers. So you are able to actually spy on your competition to figure out where they get their product. And because if they're so good, why can't you be good too? And let them do all the work for you. Figure out what they get. Figure out where they get it. Figure out what they sell. Figure out how much they make on it, and kind of take a piece of that pie. So it's really nice. It's a great, great, great tool. Now here's another trick that's one of my favorites. Because now I can show you, now that we've demonstrated the Raison tool and Template Optimizer Supreme. Okay, so I'm going to go to eBay.com. Let me close all these tabs so it's not so messy. And I'm going to type in like a large national brand, like, I don't know, Hasbro. Why not? So I'm going to put in some filters here. I'm going to do a buy it now. I'm going to do free shipping, and I'm going to do new. The reason why I'm doing this, by also keeping it best match, because I know these products are popular, and people tend to sell them. So, of course, they tend to sell them. They tend to make a profit on them. That's what I meant to say. So if I hit the Raison tool here, it's going to bring me up everything, how it sells. It's going to show up green if it sells better on Amazon than it does on eBay. Okay, so remember, this is retail arbitrage on Amazon. But watch this. Let's outsmart Raison. Let's reverse engineer it and see if we can't find a technique to find an Amazon product that we can sell on eBay. So I am going to change this ROI to be worst first now. So now I can basically see where it is more expensive on eBay than it is on Amazon. Okay, so this one, for example, let's see here. Okay, and I want to, so this one, for example, the very top one, this one sells on Amazon for $5.98 and it sells on eBay for $9.31. So that's not too bad. Okay, so we can actually hide all these columns too to make it a little bit easier. But we can see that if we reverse engineer it so that the ROI is worst first, then we can say, okay, if I bought this on Amazon for $5.98 and sold it on eBay for $9.31, you know, I don't care how little profit that is. I can list it up on eBay and sell 1 million, you know, just back to back to back to back to back. So this is what I do. I go to Amazon on the Template Optimizer, click search. Oh, I don't know if I copied the whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Template Optimizer right there. Okay. And it's going to search for it until it pops up. There it is. I'm going to add the product, and boom, I have an eBay listing. Now, the cool thing about this is I can find one listing that works. And if it works, then I post that item on eBay. And I tell eBay I have 10,000 available. 10,000. I don't have to have 10,000 available, because when I buy them, you know, my supplier will keep replenishing them. But our supplier is Amazon. Here's the cool trick. You can sell something on eBay and never ever have to buy it beforehand. And when the item sells on eBay, turn around and go to Amazon and buy it. And then put the ship to address to your eBay buyer. There's no out-of-pocket expense for that. And you can go through and you can list 100 items back to back to back to back, owning not a single one of them. And when they sell, you then go to Amazon and buy it, send it to your eBay buyer. Now, having a combination between Rayzon and Template Optimizer makes that very, very efficient. So we just typed in Hasbro, but there's a lot of other ones that we can type in. Let's try Keurig, for example. See if this gives us some good results. Okay. So I want to have them all pop up here. Looks like they're some pretty good deals to sell on eBay from Amazon, but that's not what I'm interested in right now. I want to wait until the red ones come. Oh, okay. Okay. Looks like we have some fairly decent ones here. This purple line up here, I'm waiting for that to load, because when that's done loading, it has finished its analysis. Okay, so now I'm going to start by ROI again. It's very top one. I can buy it on Amazon for $14.95 and sell it on eBay for $17.95. Look at this one. I can buy this on eBay, or excuse me, Amazon for $120.45 and sell it for $153.82. So all I do is take the ASIN, put it into the Template Optimizer Supreme, and I've created the listing. And so here's $163.99 to $194.99. Copy the ASIN and then sell it. You see how awesome this is we just found item after item. This one, $143.17 and it's selling for $163.16. $109.95 to $119. So we just found a bunch of items. We just copy and paste them into Template Optimizer Supreme. And we have, you know, 30, 40, 100 items listed a day, and we haven't even purchased a single one of them. So that's a really cool trick I like to do. And it is possible when you couple the Rayzon with the Template Optimizer Supreme. Okay, so we went over all of that on Amazon. So let me show you a pretty decent tool also that I like, because all of this is well and good, but really we need to know how to allocate our resources. So when I find a product, especially if I'm selling it on Amazon, it only goes in 3 different stages. Okay, so the first stage, I need to make sure that I am buying just 10 to 15. That's it. I only buy 10 to 15 because I tend to be a conservative investor and I want to make sure that what I do works. So I only buy 10 to 15. When I send that in and do my test, I note my velocity and my net profit. Then I buy enough to make me $500. So if it makes me $500, that's great. I'm happy. And I can figure out what that is now because I know how fast it's going to make me 500 bucks. The third stage is, once that goes well, is I buy enough to last me a month, because I don't want to have to keep buying the same thing every 2, 3, 4 days. I want to buy it just once a month when I know that product is doing well. I'm not putting out a whole lot of resources to take a big risk, you know. And once it's there, I only buy the item once a month. And as soon as it comes to my house, I ship it immediately to Amazon and let them take care of everything. So that's what I do in my first 3 stages. But all of this is to make a very important decision, and that is, how on earth am I going to allocate my resources to do this correctly? So I'm going to show you how I personally make these decisions. Okay, so I have created a spreadsheet here. Okay, so I kind of want to show you this a little bit. So I have right here the daily schedule. This is exactly what I do, step by step. Remember, I have an aviation background. Everything I do has to be a checklist and very regimented. So notice on Tuesday, that's when my week starts for my research. On Tuesday, I'm looking for just 20 products, only 20 products. And I am noting the sales rank, the sales per day, number of sellers. That is all found on Spy Rivals. Wednesday, I'm looking for my suppliers. That's found on Rayzone. Then the next day, I'm actually looking at my numbers. I want to know how much I am making per sale. And then notice on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I don't do anything. That's because I am traveling to the events on weekends, but also I like to sleep on my research. If it feels good for me the following week, then I do it. Remember, I'm a conservative investor. So on Monday, that's when I apply for that supplier, or I seek approval for the category, or I just buy the item. So that's great. But then if you look on this lower left-hand side, I have a number of other pages. This one right here, the store optimization page. So this is where I go through my test. Okay, so I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so it will be easier to read. Okay, so I only fill in columns A through F. So I put in how many I purchased. So 15 I purchased. Remember, this is initial sale. Each one of them cost me $6.88. On Amazon, they're selling for $15.95. I can sell 28 per day, but my margin is only $3.28. So we need to see if this is worth it. So the next columns, it says, okay, my total investment for my 15 units is going to cost $103.20. The estimated OOS days is how fast I'm going to be out of stock. So if I buy 15 and 28 sell a day, then I will sell out in just over a half a day. For every $100 I spend, I make $47.67. So that's what column I is. For this specific order of 15, I make $49.20. I need to sell 5 to break even. It will take me 0 days to do that, because remember, I'm selling out in 1 day. My percent of return, this is basically column I, but expressed in a percentage. So it's my ROI. And then my estimated profit per day is $91.84. So great. I'm okay with this, whatever. But this is where my decisions come into play. It's columns O, P, Q, R, and S. So remember, when that sells well, I can note what my actual velocity is and my profit. And I can put them in the previous columns. But in order to make $500, I need to buy 152 units. And it's going to cost me $1,048 to do that. So I have to spend $1,048 to make $500. That's pretty good. But then if I want to have a 30-day supply, remember this is the third stage, I need to buy 854 units at a cost of $5,875 to make almost $3,000. And then I only have to do that once a month, is just buy that product once a month. Free up my capital for something else. I don't have to spend any more than $5,800 because there's no reason to. Just keep a month in there. You don't need to buy 6 months worth of product and send it in. So this helps. There's another product right below it, and I just wanted to show you this for your FYI to kind of make the point that it really doesn't matter what the ROI is. The ROI here is 131%, and you make $25 off of it, but you only sell 1 a day. This is why velocity is so important, why SPY rivals is so important. Because even if you had a high ROI, you're only making $777 a month on that investment. So the purpose of this page is you have a number of items for sale. So what you can do is you can compare column R and S and kind of look at a ratio. I can make, say, $10,000 a month on a product, but if it takes me $80,000 to do that, that is not as good as buying 80 products for $1,000 each, making $1,000. Okay, so it's not how much money you make per month. It is a ratio between how much money you put towards inventory to then turn that into the best ROI over time. So how can I allocate the fewest resources to the most return in the least amount of time, if I can summarize it? That's why I use this sheet. I have some other fun things on here, like a reinvestment schedule, because let's just say people can't go out and spend $1,300 on a product and then the next time spend $5,000. What this page does is it tells you what your initial investment is. So let's just say I'm only able to spend $680 or $100 on an item. That means if there's 11 sales a day and I made $268 in profit, then I can see in my first order I can buy 14. And on that order, I am going to make $37.52. That means I can buy an additional 5 items. So my next order is going to be 19. And so my 19 orders make me $50, which means I can buy an additional 7, which means my next one is 26 orders. So this shows you how fast or how many orders it takes to turn $100 into, say, $500 or $1,000 or even $5,000. So if you reinvest your income, this will show you how fast it can turn into something else. And then there's, of course, a nice little graph here on the right-hand side, which is a visual representation. And then here's another one too, price to velocity. We're not going to talk too much about this one. This one goes when you are private labeling and creating your own products. You can see that it's not all about the price and it's not all about the velocity. It's the combination of the two. So we fill out this graph to say, okay, at this price, that's how many sales I make, and that's my profit per day. But I can lower my price only so much to where my sales do not justify my low profit margin. So here you can basically see is that if I was to lower my price to $26.55 and make $3.89, that makes me 11 sales a day, so I'm making $42 a day in profit. If I raise the price, yes, I'll make more in margin, but my sales per day goes down. If I lower the price, my margin impact is really hurting. My sales a day are through the roof, but my profit per day isn't as good. Okay, so that's another one that that we actually teach here. So, all right, let me just clear all that then. Okay, all right, now let me. So that's a kind of a really cool strategy that I use. It's a spreadsheet that I created. It's the exact same spreadsheet that I use every single day. My goal is to only find one product per week that makes me $500 a month. I'm going to repeat that. My goal is to only find one product a week to make me $500 a month at a minimum. So let me kind of show you this. So if I were to, let's just say, a terrible scenario, that it takes me 40 hours to find one product that makes me $500 a month. That means that $500 over a year is going to be worth $6,000. So think of it this way. I just worked 40 hours for $6,000. Okay, so you make $6,000 a week right now? Maybe not, maybe so. It's okay. But if you think about this, if you do this over 10 weeks, just one product that makes you $5,000 at a minimum, worst case scenario, that is $5,000 net per month at the end of 10 weeks. If you held that up for an entire year, that is $26,000 net per month. if you do that every single week. And I'll tell you this, it's rare to find a product that only makes you $500 a month. Okay, it's a lot. It is very possible, as we have already seen, that you can make more than $500 a month on one product. So that's quite nice. So basically, I want to start talking about the free bonus. But before I do that, first off, I have to sincerely say thank you so much for joining this webinar. This actually says a lot about you. It says to me, if you're in attendance here, that you want to take action and you actually care about changing your future. So first off, you should be commended and put on a pedestal for that. Congratulations. So I'm really, really glad that you've been able to make this. So the other thing here is I actually need something. I actually need successful entrepreneurs. I need success stories. I need future coaches. Because as a coach, and every single coach here, it is a prerequisite that we have to have a successful online business. And not only are we looking for people who will do this business but do it successfully, we're also looking for possible future coaches to be in my seat if you so choose. Okay, so I want to kind of extend a little bit of an invitation too, is if you want to do coaching, because we do want those success stories. If you feel like you're going to be a success story and that you want to change your life for the better and you're going to stop at nothing to do that, then I am going to be your personal coach. And so when I say I'm going to be your personal coach, I mean the guy you are listening to right now is the one who is going to teach you. Okay, you don't have to go to someone else. Okay, and so like I said, the prerequisites for this is you have to be motivated. You have to want to change your life and or your financial situation for yourself or for future generations. So and also as a coach, and all coaches, number one, we have to have a successful online business, but number two, we only make money when you guys make money. So you can see what kind of incentive that gives me to help make you successful. And you guys heard my story, and I know you guys out there in this webinar also have a story. You guys are going through something. You have a story. And now why not make the pivotal decision to have this your opportunity to then start telling your story? I love telling my story because it was something that I went through. It was a terrible, desperate situation, but you know, I got out of it. And now I kind of dedicate my life to doing that for others. So first off, I want to just say, you saw a whole lot of software that's demonstrated here. We at least want to give you that software. Okay, so I want to give you that software. So you can actually apply to get that at simapprentice.com. Simapprentice.com is where you can also submit an application, because if you want to be a coach, not everyone can. And so we'll go through an interview process. In fact, whoever fills that out, I'm actually probably going to be calling the first person in this webinar to personally to talk to them. But if you are the second or subsequent, we're going to give you a call within 24 hours because we want to do that, because we know you're motivated and you want to get stuff done. So fill out the form at least to get the software you need. We went over that. We saw the good benefits of that. At least get that. But if you want coaching too, if you want me to be your coach, then let me know, and I will personally do that. So I think one of the easiest ways in which we can do this is if you locate your chat box. Let me see here. If you locate your chat box, I'm going to send you a link. Here is the link to fill out the form. That's simapprentice.com. So you can click on that, and of course you can fill that out to get the software that you need and also apply for coaching. Yeah, definitely do that. So let's see here. I do want to give you your free bonus. I actually want to give you that spreadsheet I created, which in my opinion is one of the most important tools that I have to help me in my business, be smart about my business, know what to do, when to do it, how it will turn out, and it keeps me accountable every single day. So I want to send you that exact spreadsheet. So if you could send an email to, and I'll send this in the chat box, if you can send it to support at mycoachingteam.com. Oops, I got to spell it right, and it's going to come right now. And so go ahead and you can email that and say, hey, I want Ben's spreadsheet. You can absolutely do that, and I would be more than happy to send that to you. Or what I'm also going to do is I'm going to send you a link in that chat box as well, so you can go ahead and click on that link and also access that. It's a view only, so in order for you to actually use it, you have to click on the upper left-hand side, File, and then Make a Copy. If you click on File and then Make a Copy, then it is yours, and you can do anything you want with it. As a coaching student, I will be updating this periodically and giving you every single update at that point. So it's quite nice. So yeah, I do want you to have that spreadsheet because it absolutely will help. And also, please, I want to work with you. I want to make you the success story that Adam talks about. I want to help you achieve your goals because you all have goals. And because you all have goals, now you actually have a method. And that's what I am very proud to show people. So like I said, I'm going to look at the applications that come in. I'll give the first person a call, and then the subsequent ones, they will go ahead and be called within the next 24 hours. So please stay by your phone, and we'll give you a call. But that's all I have for tonight. I sincerely appreciate you for joining the webinar today, and I hope to work with you very soon. And again, you guys have goals, you guys have a story, and it's about time you tell it, and it's about time you achieve them. So thanks again, and have a great night. Bye-bye.